everyone, I hope you're having an amazing day. Today I wanted to talk about the best sequels on the NES. So these are going to be ranked by not only how good they are, but mostly how much better they are than the original. A lot of times when people make top 10 sequels videos, they talk about any game other than the original in the series. This video is all about the second entry in a series. Even if it's a game franchise that only had 2 games, this is all about that second game, how good it is, and how much better it is than the original. If you enjoy retro gaming content like top 10 videos and reviews, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn notifications to all. You can also hype the video, which helps out a ton and helps others to find the video. And of course, if you want to help the channel financially, feel free to join the channel and become a channel member today. All right, let's get into it. Starting with number 10, Tecmo Super Bowl. This was the first football game that actually had licensing for all the player and team names, which is pretty badass. The original Tecmo Bowl is a very good game, but Tecmo Super Bowl has lived on in infamy. The reason it's back here at number 10 is because, like I said, the original Tecmo Bowl was a damn good game. I'm not the biggest football fan in the world, but I know it's a good game when I sees one. I love me some 10-yard fight, but Tecmo Super Bowl takes things to the next level. It honestly lives on forever because of the Bo Jackson meme. Bo Jackson played for the LA Raiders back in the day, and he went on to play other major league sports, which is pretty impressive. He also had a advertisement campaign called Bo Knows. He was just the best at everything and knew everything, and it was absolutely hilarious. I feel like Bo Jackson in Tecmo Super Bowl is like the original video game meme. For those of you that don't know what I mean, if you play as the LA Raiders and you use Bo Jackson, he is by far the best player in the game to a ridiculous degree. He can outrun any player like ×2 at least, and if you play as the LA Raiders, it's basically considered cheating. I'm not very good at football games, so that made this game all the more enjoyable to me. Let me know your thoughts on Tecmo Super Bowl down in the comments, and if you remember those Bo Knows commercials back in the day.
Bo knows baseball. Bo knows basketball. It became personal with me.
All right, at number 9 is Donkey Kong Jr. That's right, Donkey Kong Jr. is a sequel to the original Donkey Kong. Now, I love me some original Donkey Kong, that's why Donkey Kong Jr. is number 9, but I do prefer Donkey Kong Jr. In Donkey Kong Jr., you of course play as Jr. or Donkey Kong Jr., and you have to make your way to free your father, Donkey Kong, by climbing vines and ropes and avoiding the little, I guess, gorilla traps along the way. There's also like birds and stuff you gotta watch out for. You can knock down the fruit to hit the traps and the birds. Like I said, it's all about maneuvering through the different vines and platforming and all that stuff. Very simple arcade game, but to me, it was quite a bit better than the original Donkey Kong. Back when I was a kid, I fell out of a tree, smashed my knee and my face, which, I mean, explains a lot, doesn't it? On the sidewalk. So I had to stay home from school for a little while, and to make up for everything, my mom let me rent one game, and I rented Donkey Kong Classics on the NES, which contains both the original Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. Donkey Kong Jr. got a lot of play that summer, let's just say. I absolutely love this game, one of my favorite arcade classics on the NES, and that is why Donkey Kong Jr. sits here at number 9. Next up is the first video game I ever played, and that is Double Dragon 2: The Revenge on the NES. I love the original Double Dragon, but I played Double Dragon 2 first and was a little bit disappointed with the original. Like I said, they're both amazing games, that's why it's back here at number 8. But to me, Double Dragon 2, adding its multiplayer, adding the multiple direction attacks, just takes things to the next level. The game definitely does get impossible once you get to the kind of mysterious castle level where you have to do a ton of platforming in a beat 'em up game. There's a ton of great boss fights in this game, a ton of great characters, a ton of great stages, and you just feel like a badass beating up all these punks and thugs. The little cutscenes are absolutely amazing too. These cutscenes just took things to the next level. It was like I was watching one of my favorite cartoon shows or something like that back then. The story in this game's not half bad either, to be completely honest. I love the helicopter stage and the fact that you just like jump into the helicopter by by like gripping the ski of the helicopter and pulling yourself up. Does anyone know what that thing is called? I always just called it a ski. It looks like a ski to me. You pull yourself into that helicopter and face off against a ton of enemies, but you can just throw them out of the helicopter if you want, which is pretty badass. Abobo grew his hair out for this special occasion. Looks even more brutal than he did in the original, and I just love the variety of boss fights in this one compared to the original as well. And adding 2-player co-op, which the original on the NES did not have, Double Dragon 2 takes things one step further for the franchise and earns its place at number 8. Now we've got Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2. This one was outside a lot of people's radar back in the day and still kind of is today. I personally did not actually play this game until it was released later on the Disney Afternoon Collection, which you can play on all modern hardware now. When I fired this up, I was a lover of the original Rescue Rangers, but this one is way better in my opinion. There were so many like opportunities for cheap deaths when playing co-op in the original, and this one I feel like fine-tunes that and removes most of the cheap deathery. The stage design is just a lot better, especially for co-op. I just love that theme of little chipmunks playing in a big world. You go through people's homes and all kinds of fun environments, and I just love that concept when it comes to video games, and they did it a lot on the NES. Games like, of course, the original Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, and then you've got like Monster in My Pocket. I just love that whole concept from back then. But yeah, for having just better stage design and being way more enjoyable to play with a friend, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2 sits here at number 7. At number 6 is one of my favorite Ninja Gaiden games of all time, and that is Ninja Gaiden 2. I do want to do a video eventually ranking all the retro Ninja Gaiden games, including the arcade game, so let me know down in the comments if that's something you would be interested in. I was about to tell you what my favorite retro Ninja Gaiden game is and favorite Ninja Gaiden game of all time, but I'll save that for that video if we get there. Ninja Gaiden 2 is definitely a top 2, top 3 Ninja Gaiden game for me, and it just takes everything from the original and expands upon it. The story might not be as good as the original, but gameplay-wise, absolutely everything is better in my opinion. The stage design and the gameplay just feel a lot more tightened up. You've got some cool themed stages like this one where you're in like this dark jungly area and the only thing illuminating the landscape is the lightning in the background. The game is quite a bit longer as well, and I gotta give kudos to these cutscenes. The cutscenes in the original were great, but these ones are just elevated from what they did in the original. I just love everything about Ninja Gaiden 2. It's so damn good. It's just got some iconic stages as well. Like you start out in the city, of course, but then you end up running on the top of a train. You end up in that wind stage where you have to time your jumps perfectly to adjust for the change in wind direction to help you reach the next platforms. I also love the boss fights. The Tarantula's boss fight is so good. Ashtar is an amazing freaking villain. And then the way it kind of ties in back to the story of the original Ninja Gaiden is absolutely fantastic as well. I will say Ninja Gaiden 2 is one of the best games on this list, so if you've only played the original Ninja Gaiden, be sure to check this one out. The only reason it's ranked so low here is because the original Ninja Gaiden is so damn good. Bomberman 2. This game made Bomberman what it is today, in my opinion. Back in the original Bomberman, it was okay. It only had a single player mode where you kind of played through the story, if you will. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad game. It started what Bomberman 2 would expand on, but Bomberman 2 added what the Bomberman series is known for, which is multiplayer. Bomberman without multiplayer is just not Bomberman, really, in my opinion. So that's why Bomberman 2 is rated so highly here on the list. Like I said, there's a lot of games on this list that are much better than Bomberman 2, but Bomberman 2 is just so much better than the original. Of course, you do have your single player mode. You can play through that as well. It's just as good, if not better, than the original was, but everything is taken to that next level because of its multiplayer. If you have the, I don't know what it's called on the NES, the multi-tap, let me know down in the comments what the NES multi-tap was called, but you can add a third player and can actually play 3-player multiplayer in Bomberman 2. There were not a lot of games that used this device back in the day, and Bomberman 2 was one of them. So they really wanted to push the multiplayer. They knew they were on to something amazing when they implemented multiplayer into this franchise, and ever since Bomberman 2, the series has just been absolutely incredible. An absolute blast to play with friends. You want to have a party, you invite some friends over, you play some freaking Bomberman. And all that is thanks to Bomberman 2, which is why it's so high up here on the list. At number 4, and probably the best game on this list, is Mega Man 2. Mega Man 1 was pretty rough. I remember renting it a ton back in the day when I was a kid because I wanted to beat the freaking game. I absolutely loved the original Mega Man as a kid, but once I got my hands on Mega Man 2, everything changed. This became one of my favorite franchises of all time, if you can't tell by the Proto Buster in the background here. Mega Man 2 tightened the controls, the level design, and added some extra bosses to the run. This game just plays so much better than the original. The original is great because it broke ground for the franchise, of course, but everything that Mega Man is known for started back in Mega Man 2. I just feel like the levels are a lot more memorable. The Robot Masters are absolutely incredible. I don't know if the Robot Masters are more memorable because everybody knows Cutman and Gutsman. Heck, Dr. Wily loves Gutsman so much he puts him in every freaking game at this point. But we've got Metal Man, who has got the best weapon in the entire franchise. You can pretty much just play through the rest of the game with the Metal Blade once you beat him and acquire it. You got other iconic bosses like Airman and Woodman, and it's just such a good game and such a huge step up from the original Mega Man. If not for the changes made in Mega Man 2, I don't know if the Mega Man franchise would be as beloved as it is today, which is why it sits here at number 4. Alright, so it is a toss-up between Mega Man 2 and this game, Kirby's Adventure, for the best game on this list. The original Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy is a good game. It's not a bad game by any means, but holy shit, did Kirby's Adventure improve on things and set the tone for the Kirby franchise to come. In the original on the Game Boy, all you could do was kind of fly, you could suck enemies, spit them out, or swallow them to defeat them. If you spit them out, it shoots out a star, which can damage other enemies along the path, which is great. It's a cool gameplay component, and even it alone is something that is iconic and ahead of its time for an idea. But when the second game came out on the NES, they made the jump to the home console. They decided to turn things up to 11 and give Kirby the copy ability, which is what he is known for today and ever since. So from Kirby Adventure on, Kirby is known for not only inhaling the enemies, but swallowing them and gaining their powers and abilities. This gave Kirby access to a ton of different weaponry and abilities, and it just adds so much to the franchise, changing it completely forever. On top of this, you've got, of course, color, which makes this game absolutely pop. The music in this game is phenomenal. It's not bad in the original, but it takes things to the next level here, and it's just a much bigger and larger game. There's so many different levels and worlds to explore, a ton of different bosses to encounter, of course, all the different copy abilities that you can try out. You can play through this game a million times and never have the same experience because of all the different copy abilities that you can play through each level with. Don't forget the freaking mini games that were an absolute blast. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite Kirby's Adventure mini game was. I personally like the Gunslinger one the most. For all these reasons and more, Kirby's Adventure sits here as the number 3 best sequel on the NES. Alright, at number 2, we've got Adventure Island 2. Adventure Island 1 is not terrible, but it's not that great. It's a pretty basic game. You just run from left to right, collect fruit, and hope not to die. In Adventure Island 2, however, you now have fully fleshed out stages. You're doing some island hopping, but the biggest feature they added to this franchise is the dinosaurs. So as you collect different suits of cards, you get access to different dinosaurs, each with their own advantages and special attacks. You can get the purple dinosaur that's meant for the underwater stages. This guy just cruises underwater and allows you to maneuver through the obstacles so much better and quicker. And then you've got the pterodon or the pterodactyl, which you can ride to fly over the levels and drop little rocks on, or maybe it's shit, I don't know. And if you make it to the boss with the pterodactyl, you get whatever attack you have for Master Higgins, which is usually the throwing the axe or the hatchet, and then it still has the pterodactyl poop to drop on the bosses and defeat them even quicker, which is pretty badass. And then you got the two stand-up dinosaurs that you can ride, the red one and the blue one. The blue one smashes objects with his tail and deals a great amount of damage to enemies and bosses. And then you've got the red one who can walk through fire and shoot fireballs out of his mouth. This just adds so much to the franchise and makes it so much better than the original. You've also got secret kind of special areas in the stages to get more food and refill your hunger meter. You've got kind of the little bonus roulette missions at the end of each stage, which allow you to get new weapons and dinosaurs. On top of all this, you can also store weapons and dinosaurs. So if you lose an item or a dinosaur, you can re-get them when you start the next stage if you have some in backup. This game is absolutely amazing. One of my favorite NES games of all time, and it just blows the original out of the water, which is why it's way up here at number 2 on the list. Alright, and at number 1, it was probably an easy guess by process of elimination. We've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. This game is just so much better than the original. The original was a freaking nightmare, dude. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, takes literally the arcade game, jams it into a Nintendo cartridge, adds a few extra levels even, and gives you a masterpiece of a beat-em-up experience at home. I would argue this NES version is better than the arcade version, which is a pretty crazy thing to say, to be honest, but there are a few games like that. Let me know down in the comments if you want me to do a video on arcade games that were better on the NES. That's a cool concept, I think, for a video. TMNT 2, the arcade game, allows for multiplayer, which is something the original was missing. I mean, you got 4 freaking turtles to choose from. Why not incorporate multiplayer? It's silly not to. This game did, and you've got all the levels you know and love from the arcade game, which are all very, very well done, and then you've got some bonus levels. I love the winter stage. Being from Canada, it just felt like I was at home, especially in the winter time. I know it takes place in New York City, but they use like an ice machine or something like that, a weather device to change everything to be covered in snow. But growing up as a kid, there's snow on the ground probably 6 months out of the year where I live, so it was cool to experience a snow stage in a TMNT game. And Ninja Turtles were the fucking craze back then. Everybody loved the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I personally was obsessed with them as a kid, so this game really stood out to me. I remember borrowing the original from my parents' friend and playing the crap out of that one, despite how much I sucked at it. But when this one came out, it just knocked it out of the park. The best TMNT game on the NES, for sure. I do love TMNT 3, the Manhattan Project, but I definitely prefer TMNT 2, the arcade game. I just love everything about this game and how much better it is than the original game's experience, which is why it's here at number 1. Alright guys, we are at the end of the video. Let me know what NES sequels I missed, what some of your favorite sequels are on the original Nintendo Entertainment System down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, subscribe, turn notifications to all, and of course, hype the video to help others find it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.